Right, guys, I actually think we're live. We've had so many technical difficulties, but I think we actually are live this time. So, how are we all doing, guys? Took a lot. Just let me double check. I always just watch my stream on my phone as well, just so I can have like another monitor here to make sure everything's going all good. Yeah. Well, guys, how are we all doing? Let me see this chat. Nice stream. Yep, there we go. So we are actually flying. So guys, a lot of football news as always today. Was reading earlier, we're seeing the first hint of the World Cup squads really starting to take shape. Certainly for me, going to be an exciting tournament. Definitely going to be one to watch out for this year. Really don't like it being in December though. I know, obviously, from like a players' point of view, it could be physically impossible to play in the actual heat of the Qatari summer, but I mean, it's just messing about with everybody's seasons. Everybody all of a sudden has a massive break in the middle of the season. United have so many matches coming up as well. Like, just gonna take these off. Yeah, so we actually have audio for once, which is fantastic. So, like, honestly, guys, I've had no Wi-Fi, no audio. The graphics weren't working, but we are here. We have finally made it, and we are live. So, what I was saying tonight, certainly we're seeing England's squad really start to take shape. Reece James has been ruled out of the tournament. Yeah, I mean, heartbreaking for Reece James. He's absolutely fantastic footballer. England really interesting at right back. I mean, Gareth Southgate does love a right back, and he's going to be bringing a lot with him to Qatar. Doesn't look like Reece James is going to be one. Big concerns over Trent as well. Certainly as well, we're seeing a lot of Kieran Trippier doing very well for Newcastle this season, which I think's really interesting. Like Trippier before he went to Newcastle, I kind of had said he's a bit of a finished player, like he didn't really cut it too well at Atletico, but he's definitely proven me wrong. Really integral part for Newcastle. He is essentially their entire right hand side, but him and Miguel Almiron this season, fantastic for them. Yeah, so no doubt Trippier will be going to the World Cup. I'm quite glad to say Luke Shaw will be going to the World Cup. I mean, Luke Shaw does kind of deserve it in my opinion. I think he's definitely been the best English left back so far this season. Certainly for me, better than Ben Chilwell. Like, I'm not gonna entertain that debate. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Luke Shaw going to the World Cup. He's been playing very, very well. My concern is whether Harry Maguire is going to go. I think there's a real chance Gareth Southgate shoehorns him into the team. Like, I mean, if you look at England's centre-back options, obviously by playing three at the back, one probably will be Kyle Walker because he likes his pace on the recovery. But you could be looking at Ben White, John Stones going. Then after that, there's a real drop in quality. Like, you've Ben Godfrey, Connor Cody maybe, Tyrone Mings. Like, I can see why Harry Maguire, if he is fit, could find himself going to Qatar, like, because those other options are just not good enough. Personally, I think Tomori should be going. I think Trevor Chalobah should be going as well for England. This has just come from an Northern Ireland fan. We'll not get into the politics. Just leave that at that. Yeah, guys, so a lot of United news coming up tonight. Ten Hag looking to buy a right back in January if United can offload Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Believe you were in the same situation last year. I mean, last summer, like, it's to be expected. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he isn't particularly well cut out for Ten Hag football. He is just not that guy. We can see it here on screen, just getting it up for you guys. So, like, United Reports is the best location for United news. It always has been. Absolutely fantastic service those guys are putting in for free on YouTube, on Twitter, like, so definitely give them guys a follow. But yeah, I mean, Ten Hag going to bring Aaron Wan-Bissaka to the world. Sorry, not looking to get rid of him, bring in a new right back. We've seen talks of Max Aarons, we've seen talks of Denzel Dumfries. Klaus was mentioned over the summer. You know, so there's a whole host of players who could maybe come in look to take that right back spot. Personally, I would very much like to see Diogo Dalot have a genuine bit of competition, and as well as someone he can rotate with, because the guy's just played 28 matches in a row. He's been suspended for the League Cup match, so it'll be very interesting to see who plays at right back. Will it be Brandon Williams? Maybe Aaron Wan-Bissaka gets minutes? I don't know. Personally, I don't think we should have got rid of Ethan Laird in the summer. I think we should have kept a hold of him. His QPR loan hasn't been great so far, so certainly for me, a player who we could have done with for a bit of extra depth, a bit more cover, and to push Dalot, because Ethan Laird, when fit, is absolutely fantastic. Like, the ability that guy has is actually frightening. We're seeing what Alvaro Fernandez has done so far at Preston North End. He isn't at Ethan Laird's level, but unfortunately Laird's injuries are what's holding him back in his career, and it's unfortunate to see. Like, players that age in 8 minutes, we've seen it with like Axel Tuanzebe, where you have a very promising young player who's just perpetually injured. They don't make it because they don't get the minutes they need to develop as a footballer, so that of course is very disappointing. So let's hope Ethan Laird can clear up his injuries. Moving on down here as well, we can see further injury news. Anthony having a small problem in his hip flexor. I think it's very interesting. It was meant to be a small knock. He's been out for 2 weeks now, and we can see how much poor we are without Anthony. Like, certainly, regardless of his contribution in terms of goals and assists, his balance on that right hand side, holding the width, cutting in his left, definitely is a real asset for our club. He'd be going to the World Cup. I wouldn't expect Anthony to be starting for Brazil, not with his injury record, and the options that they have, like up front, is actually just staggering. They're sitting looking at Neymar, Gabriel Jesus, Rafinha, obviously Anthony as well. So there's a lot of very talented players. Like Bobby Firmino isn't going to the World Cup. A lot of very good players missing out in the World Cup for Brazil. Sort of depth that a lot of teams will be jealous of. Moving on down, let's see what else we have. We have Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting. Like, where do we start with this guy? Honestly, couldn't hack it at Stoke City. So why are we talking about him at Manchester United? Now, don't get me wrong, he's doing quite well for Bayern Munich this season. I think he's got maybe like 10 goals for the season. For Eric Choupo-Moting, that's very good. But what's that say about the strength of the Bundesliga and the strength of Bayern Munich in relation to the other teams around them? Like, come on. We know that it's not the most competitive league in world football. We know this already, like, but it is kind of getting a little bit ridiculous when we see Choupo-Moting banging in 10 goals this season. Like, come on, man. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I don't think he's the player for us. I just can't see Choupo-Moting working out, unfortunately. But I mean, stranger things have happened. We've seen Odion and Gallo come in, look quite good at United, certainly do a job, but I mean, he's just not the player for us. Like, we know this already. Yeah, I mean, a lot more happening in the world of football as well tonight. Yes, guys. So let's see. Believe that football have some news as well that I've just been told about. So I'll have a quick look at them. Pretty good account to follow. Sam, who does a lot of their reporting, does generally get stuff in the know. So like, I would listen to Sam if he is saying things. What are they saying? So James Justin, his hopes of appearing in the World Cup squad are in doubt after being stretchered off. Yeah, well, that makes sense. I mean, like, if you're stretchered off 2 weeks before the World Cup starts, you're really gonna struggle to make it into the World Cup squad. Certainly for me, that's fairly obvious. Yeah, I mean, England having a bit of an injury crisis, it would appear. Apologies just for the screen changing there. It does seem that OBS has just changed my stream settings again. I don't know why. We should just be back on the main overlay now. So Calvin Phillips, Kyle Walker are fit for the World Cup. I mean, that's to be expected. Kyle Walker having a staggering recovery. I mean, probably something to do with the doctor in Barcelona who Pep has recommended him go see. I mean, we'll not say too much about that there, like, but that's an awful lot of Man City players who've made staggering recoveries so far this season from injuries. We'll say nothing. Like, we're not better. We're not like that over here. Yeah, I mean, let's see what else has been said. So, the Ricketts family will not be bidding for Liverpool. I mean, that's to be expected. Liverpool up for sale seems to be a case of FSG looking partial investment in the club, probably for a smaller return in terms of actual ownership. So probably looking at maybe like a 20-25% sale of shares. I mean, it is to be expected. Yeah, so let me just tinker a little bit with this here. See if we can pop it a wee bit more. Sorry if you heard me typing like crazy there. Technical issues and stuff have genuinely ruined my day today, but I mean, we're here, we're pushing through, we are bringing the live to you guys. So, I think I'll just talk about what I was discussing in the short video I made earlier. We still actually here. Why did we keep changing? Freaking OBS, man. Oh my word. Actually shocking. Why is it doing this? It's just messing my whole stream about, like, why recording here? Tinkering as always. So, maybe I can lock the scene. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. We've hopefully locked in this scene, so this won't change, because genuinely, guys, it's actually just been such a pain all day. Certainly having software issues. Like the last time I was streaming, it was freaking internet issues, and now it's just software issues. So we'll just keep the overlay up. We'll not try to change things about too much. So how are we feeling? We're about 10 minutes deep. So let me see. Other things as well. Gareth Southgate has finished his squad. That's to be expected. We're seeing a lot of squads start to pop up. I think it'll be interesting for me is like, will Marcus Rashford be in the World Cup? Personally, for me, he should be. I think certainly in terms of England's forward options, he has been one of the most informed players so far this season. 7 goals, 3 assists. Not to be sniffed at. I mean, he only got 6 goals in all of last season, so he's already bettered that, for want of a better word. So certainly Marcus Rashford should be on the play in the Qatar for me. Definitely think he's a player who is in good form and is playing very well. I think it'll be a disgrace if James Maddison isn't on the play in the Qatar. He certainly has been. I actually think I read somewhere that he's like had the most goal involvement since May, which is actually ridiculous considering Erling Haaland's in the league. But I mean, yeah, certainly a very talented player. So people going to the World Cup squad. Other potentials in the England World Cup squad. Ivan Toney, for instance, certainly should be going. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect a lot out of England at this tournament. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. For me, Gareth Southgate is not good enough of a manager to lead that England squad. You have a team who has the likes of Harry Kane, Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, Raheem Sterling, Mason Mount, Phil Foden, James Maddison, amongst so many others, Jude Bellingham, but yet he insists on playing a 5 at the back and playing really negative football, which just isn't it. Like, certainly for me, a bit more positivity, a bit more attacking impetus is needed. Like, you've such great attacking players, but you're insisting on playing a 5 at the back with Connor Cody, James Tarkowski, freaking Harry Maguire and all. Like, certainly for me, you gotta use those attacking options. Not enough teams in international football do that. I find, like, it is a very slow competition. It is a very slow form of football. It is a little bit frustrating to watch at times. But I mean, tournament football, it's good. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and deny that to you guys. Like, certainly for me, it's definitely one of the highlights of the year. A lot of controversy though about like the whole being in Qatar, the whole human rights stuff. Like, I'm not gonna get into that here, but I don't personally think that it should have went ahead following all those human rights violations, following the death of so many workers building the stadiums for it. But yeah, I mean, that's topic for another day. There is an awful lot of corruption in football, as we know. But yeah, I mean, I think that the World Cup this year, my prediction is going to be France to win. Personally, I could see Argentina doing very well, but don't know. Like if France play well and play to the strengths that they have, and so long as they don't explode as a team, I think that they genuinely could be in with a good chance of winning. If anybody has any thoughts at all about that, if they want to get it into the comments, we'll get talking about that. Certainly want to bring a lot of World Cup content to the channel because, like, I mean, there's no other football on. I'll obviously be talking a lot about the youth teams in the meantime as well, but we'll get talking about the World Cup. We'll do some watch alongs, we'll do some interesting stuff as well. I mean, personally for me, teams I don't think are going to do well. I don't think England will do well this tournament. I think Gareth Southgate's lifespan as England manager is coming to an end. Personally, Argentina could be very, very good. Yeah, I mean, we could see Messi win the World Cup. I mean, that would end the GOAT debate, certainly. But there's a lot of things could happen. Brazil looking very good as well. It's a ridiculous attack, like Gabriel Jesus, Neymar, Anthony, Rafinha. In the midfield, Casemiro, Thiago Silva potentially in there. I'm not sure about his international status. Marquinhos, Alisson, Ederson. Like, they have such a team. They have so much quality and so much depth that they genuinely could do really, really well in this tournament. So Brazil is certainly a favourite for me. If anybody has any thoughts about that, or who they think might win the World Cup, if they want to pop it into the comments, everything's welcome. Yeah, I mean, for me, those would be my three favourites: Brazil, Argentina, and France. I think if France managed to work as a team, I think it might be game over. The likes of Mbappe in that team, Antoine Griezmann, Kingsley Coman, Ousmane Dembele, so many good players, and that's even without Paul Pogba being injured, without Kante being injured. Varane might not make the squad because of fitness, but they're still so good, and they have so much depth in that team. I think an underdog a lot of people might be sleeping on is actually the Netherlands. I know the Netherlands have done well at previous tournaments. Certainly for me, Louis van Gaal doesn't play the most entertaining football. Like, I'm a United fan, I've seen this before. We've seen like 7 or 8 games without a goal in the first half, but they have a good looking team. I definitely rate the likes of Cody Gakpo. Certainly could have a breakout tournament. That's actually my prediction for the breakout star of the tournament, the James Rodriguez, if you will, of the world. So I definitely think Cody Gakpo could be one of those guys. Yeah, I mean, definitely a player to be watching out for at the tournament, amongst many others. I must say, like, it is going to be a very, very good tournament. You can say what you want really about the status of the World Cup, like the Qatari basing off it, but I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, 2 big Premier League matches coming up this weekend. United versus Fulham's a massive one for us. We need to put things right. Certainly for me, we should not have been getting beat by Aston Villa. That was just an absolute disgrace of a performance. I think I said it in the live after the match, really. I would say that's our first time that Erik ten Hag has got it wrong. Personally, for me, I think a lot of the tactical setup wasn't right. I don't think he got everything right. I wouldn't have started Donny van de Beek. I wouldn't have started Christian Eriksen at 8. I would have put him at 10 with Fred. We miss Bruno and his running and the energy he brings. So I think there's definitely things to be put right this weekend. I think we'll go out with a point to prove, but I think we'll do well. Fulham, very good form. I had actually predicted them as a team that might go down. But they're doing well. I mean, it has to be said, certainly for me, Fulham really overachieving in the league this season. Marco Silva doing a really good job. Mitrovic for me as well, definitely one of the best strikers in the league this season. I think he is quite limited in his game style, but he's very, very effective. Very talented player. Yeah, I mean, definitely for me, Fulham will be a big match. Moving on to the rest of the Premier League fixtures as well this weekend. There's some real good ones, especially just for the last weekend before the World Cup. Just going to pull them up here. We'll get talking about them, of course. Let me see. So obviously got the League Cup as well during the week. Aston Villa again. Going to be another difficult match. So yes, guys, the weekend's matches. Probably the highlight for me is going to be United versus Fulham. I do think there's potential for Liverpool Southampton to get out of hand, but we'll see. Chelsea Newcastle as well, big one. Really will be a big match. Chelsea have really struggled against teams who are on a similar level to them, if not better, or performing better. Like, they really struggled against us. We've seen them against Arsenal last week. I would expect a similar performance against Newcastle. Definitely Newcastle, the form team in the division outside of City and Arsenal, so I would expect them to really give Chelsea a good match of the weekend. It'll be very, very interesting to see. Miguel Almiron, of course, 7 goals in 7 Premier League matches. I'm glad I got him in my fantasy. Kind of put him in because there's nobody else to put in, and he's done very well for me ever since. So yeah, so some interesting matches at the weekend as well. Be interesting to see how Southampton do after sacking Ralph Hasenhüttl. That has to be one of the talking points. Been in charge for a long time. Certainly for me, at a time I thought he was one of the best coaches in the league. Now, I'm not trying to say that Ralph Hasenhüttl was ever a world beater, but certainly for me, in terms of the tactical system that he was instilling, it was really interesting. It was really exciting for me. It was definitely a really interesting style of play and a philosophy that he was instilling. That's why I would have at one stage rated him quite highly, but personally not now. Definitely think he should have gone after one of the 9-0s. I think like there was 2 or 3 9-0s. It's just ridiculous how that man held on to his job after that. But yeah, I mean, Southampton believe the Luton manager is now their full-time coach, so it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. Luton, of course, definitely overachieving. They did really well last year. They were in the Championship playoffs, something that far stretches their reach, their funding. But I mean, that'll be an interesting point to be talking about. Yeah, I mean, a lot of interesting matches coming up. Be interesting to see how United finish up before the Premier League breaks for the World Cup. I'm very glad to see United are having proper training over the break, which will be useful. But at the minute, I mean, finding ourselves 11 points off top, it's not that good. Like, that loss against Villa, really costly. Like, definitely has meant Newcastle are 4 points ahead of us now. Liverpool gaining points on us. Chelsea only 2 points behind us. So things are getting tight, but that's life at the top end of the league. You know, we know that we can't drop a lot of points. We can't be dropping points to the likes of Aston Villa. We should have beat Newcastle, should have beat Chelsea, should have beat Aston Villa. But yeah, I mean, what can you do? Like, honestly, I just know we've played well for most of the season. Obviously a couple of matches where it slipped, where it hasn't been great, but I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, probably not going to be on here for too much longer. We've done 25 minutes. I have done like an hour trying to get this stream running in the first place. Finally, managed to have it up, so I will stay on for a good bit longer. Let's see. A lot of other interesting talking points in European football tonight. We've seen Barcelona win 2-1. Lewandowski sent off. Yeah, I mean, Barcelona haven't been exceptional this season. They're top of La Liga, though, and they did stretch their lead over Madrid after Madrid were beat by Real Vallecano the other night. So definitely an interesting one there. I mean, yeah. What else can we say? What else can we say? Like, certainly for me, it'll be a very interesting match when we take on Barcelona. It'll be a real indication of where we are as a footballing side. They're always good in Europe. They're always hard for us to beat. They're always a team we struggle against, but I'm hoping we can beat them, lay a marker down. But it isn't a disaster if we go out. Look, if we go out of Europa League, we have to focus solely on top 4. It means that there's no excuses. There can't be excuses if we go out. If we stay in it, then we could be in it to win it. Like, if we beat Barcelona, they are, for me, the best team in it now. Probably outside of Arsenal and ourselves, so definitely would favour ourselves to win that. If it came down to it, I definitely think it could be a chance of silverware. I mean, we know how difficult domestic cups are to win. certainly Pep Guardiola is obsessed with the League Cup, like to an unhealthy degree. The man is genuinely obsessed. The FA Cup has been very difficult to win in recent years, so perhaps the Europa League could be a real source of real chance of winning some silverware under Eric Ten Hag for his first season. So definitely something that we should be prioritising. I would like to think that the board would look at it and go, we're playing Barcelona, perhaps we actually need to like get off our backside and spend a bit of money, back the manager a bit more. But I mean, we'll see what happens. Certainly be very interesting to see. Yes, guys, so we are still going, of course. Just hit 25 minutes there. Yeah, I mean, work in the morning, not really looking forward to that, but I mean, we'll stay on here for another wee bit because it took me so long to get up and running that I may as well just stay on. Let me just make sure that all the other little short streams that are like 2 seconds long are took off public, because I don't really want you guys watching me scratch my head for 2 minutes. Let me see, just put that in private. Alright, that should be that. Perfect. Yeah, guys, so a lot of other things to talk about. Wonder if something's happened here just until there's 50 tweets. Tree Geordie suspended from Poker Stars. I mean, I'm not going to get into that. Like, absolutely horrendous what the guy said. Like, and this is several times he has said something similar of similar effect. So like, I'm not a big Tree Geordie fan. Like, what else are we getting? We have Denmark's 20-man World Cup squad. Christian Eriksen going. Good for him. Really, really good for him. Like, especially after what happened after at the last international tournament. It's great to see Christian Eriksen back on a football pitch, playing football for United and going to another tournament. Definitely deserved it. Yeah, I mean, what else can we really say too much about that? Like, I'm glad that he's going to be going. Reece James obviously out of the World Cup. A lot of squads didn't have come through today as well. Australia's squads come through. Don't actually recognise a lot of the players. Yeah, I mean, there's no Tim Cahill there. Yeah, so about the right back United we're talking to sign, I've seen a couple of people suggest Malo Gusto. Personally, I'm a massive fan of Malo Gusto. I'm going to do a scouting report on him probably this week, so that will be coming out very soon if you want to keep your eyes out for that. One of the best young right backs in European football, certainly doing very, very good at Lyon. Obviously, we took Tyrell Malacia from Lyon. He was set to go there, so let's take their other fullback and complete the package deal. For me, he could definitely challenge or even replace Diogo Dalot. Certainly a very, very talented player, exceptionally good defensively and going forward. So more good cover, more good competition is what we need. Like, we've seen Luke Shaw this season do very, very well with Tyrell Malacia pushing them. We've seen Luke Shaw do very well before with Alex Telles pushing him. So certainly that is something to be looking forward for. Definitely think more right back cover is a necessity. Yeah, I mean, what? Let's get into the big talking point. Just kind of been saving this here up for the end of the stream. So, Cristiano Ronaldo, what are we saying, guys? I mean, a lot of people are saying Ronaldo should stay. A lot of people are saying he should go. There's talk of maybe going in January. That's where the whole Choupo-Moting talk has come from. Personally, for me, I think it's in the interest of both parties that Ronaldo goes. I just don't think he looks happy. I mean, he's 37 now. He's at the tail end of his career. He deserves to be playing somewhere he feels happy, somewhere he wants to be. He's not the long-term option for United. So if he moves on somewhere where he can have Champions League football and be that bit happier playing football every week, that's good for him. And it'll allow us to go and get the young striker that we need. Someone to play that pressing system, to really start to pushes up the pitch, put the opposition backline under pressure. Someone definitely a positive if we can bring in somebody like that. So I think it would definitely work out best for both parties. Big question is whether Eric Ten Hag will be backed by not just the board, but it's by the owners. We know that the Glazers don't want Ronaldo to go. We know they see him as the big commercial asset at the club. He is the biggest shirt seller, the biggest merch seller. They want to keep on to their prize possession, so it's about whether they let him go. But I mean, I could say it. I think, I think maybe it is time for Ronaldo to leave the club. I think certainly for me, if he does, um, works out best for both parties. Yeah, I mean, tremendous player, so much great memories of Ronaldo over the years, but just I think it's time for him and us to just go our separate ways and really just start fresh. Go after a Victor Osimhen, Jonathan David, maybe an Ivan Toney, and like really start to move into the future, I guess, would be the way to say it. Like Ronaldo, for as good as he is and as great as he has been his whole career, he is yesterday's man to an extent. Like his best years are behind him. He isn't getting that back. So probably in the interest of both parties, just let Ronaldo leave the club, let him go on with his career, really start to do what he wants to do. If he wants to be playing in that Champions League, if he wants to be pushing a couple extra goals out, yeah, I mean, if that's what he wants, let him go on ahead and do that. I don't think we should stand in the player's way, regardless of who it is. Players who don't want to be there typically cause issues, and we've seen that this season. We've seen it with Ronaldo. We've seen it with so many other players over the years, like Carlos Tevez let go, Yap Sam let go, David Beckham let go. We've let players go because they've took their eye off the ball because they don't want to be there anymore, and I don't think Ronaldo should be any different. Just a wee sip of the good old Tesco's water. Yeah, so if Tesco's are actually watching this here, you know, like wee plug. If you just wanna drop me a wee bit of that nice little ad money, much appreciated. Yeah, I mean, certainly for me, Ronaldo probably should be heading on. I think as well something interesting we've noticed is David De Gea now officially has the most moments and most minutes in Premier League history. Like that is actually insane. I haven't seen too many people talking about it. For me, David De Gea, where do I think he ranks in the all-time goalkeeping for United? Like for me, it's between Schmeichel, Van der Sar, and David De Gea. Personally, I would probably put Van der Sar number one, then probably Schmeichel, then De Gea. Yeah, just always loved Edwin van der Sar as a kid. Won us that Champions League with his penalty saves. See, like, interesting enough, like I thought a lot of the older generation would be very pro Peter Schmeichel, but obviously him playing for Manchester City starred him in a lot of people's minds, especially Roy Keane's. So maybe that was to be expected. Yeah, I mean, Van der Sar for me certainly not his best ever keeper, but De Gea most minutes in Premier League history, overtaking Ben Foster of all people, which is kind of interesting considering Ben Foster didn't play a lot of minutes at United. Certainly did have the opportunity when Van der Sar was injured one season, but he never really took it, so I'm not really surprised with that. Yeah, I mean, I think something that I actually would like to talk about here before we do drop off, because it's midnight, is Middlesbrough. Let me just pull up Middlesbrough, because Michael Carrick is their manager now, and they've had a couple of decent results under him. 3-0 win tonight. Yeah, I mean, 3-0 tonight, beat Hull City 3-1, 0-0 with Huddersfield, 1-1 with Bristol City, and a 2-1 defeat by Preston. So like, it's been pretty good for a team who's been so low down the table all season. Certainly Michael Carrick seems to be doing a decent job. Yeah, I mean, a couple of players we're quite familiar with currently playing for Middlesbrough. Isaiah Jones, of course, very talented right back. He was the reason why Jed Spence ended up on loan at Forest last year. Chuba Akpom, formerly of Arsenal, also there as well. So that's pretty interesting to see. I mean, for me, Michael Carrick definitely is a player who I'd like to see in management. I thought he did quite well whenever he was at the club on a temporary basis last year. I mean, obviously we picked up results against who did we beat? We beat Arsenal, we beat Villarreal in the Champions League, drew at Stamford Bridge as well. So I mean, decent run for him at United's temporary manager. Yeah, guys. So just think there's a couple more people in the chat. If you just want to fire in any questions, any topics you want to talk about, like I'm happy to stay on. Yeah, I mean, just been sitting here talking pretty much by myself for a fair bit. A lot to discuss as always. Looking at England's World Cup squad, looking at some of the interesting players being left out of it, some of the players being dropped into the squad, which I don't really agree with, the likes of Calvin Phillips, etc., who aren't playing for their clubs. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It'll be interesting to see if Harry Maguire ends up at the World Cup. For me, I don't think he should be going. Don't think he has earned the right to be there. Certainly, I think most fans would agree with that as well, that Harry Maguire hasn't earned the right to be at the World Cup this year. Definitely hasn't played enough, and he hasn't played well enough. He's been injured as well, which is very unlike him. But I would personally be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he is there. Gareth Southgate does like Harry Maguire, but I mean, this is like something that I do want to talk about. There's definitely a bit of a media agenda against United. We're seeing like Ten Hag be criticised for not playing Harry Maguire by people who criticise Harry Maguire every week. So whenever Harry Maguire plays, he isn't good enough, and he gets criticised. But when he gets dropped for not being good enough, the manager gets criticised. It's something I don't understand. It is definitely part of a media agenda. Certainly the media haven't been particularly kind to Eric Ten Hag since he's come in. It's because he's an outsider. We know this. If it was somebody like Pochettino who they'd worked with before, they'd be a bit more kind, but there's definitely element of media bias against Ten Hag. We've seen that with Harry Maguire. I mean, if he isn't good enough to be playing and he's not in form, then why is the manager getting stuck whenever Harry Maguire gets dropped? It doesn't make sense to me. I know a lot of you guys will agree with me as well. I've seen it in the comments. We've had this debate before. We know that Harry Maguire hasn't been good enough this season, but pundits and the media seem to think that he should be playing for United just because he's our captain. I mean, the armband doesn't give you the right to play. But yeah, I mean, what else do we really need to say? I mean, the armband shouldn't be an automatic right to start a football match, in my opinion. Same with Bruno Fernandes. I mean, he hasn't been fantastic this season. He has worn the armband. So if Donny van de Beek, for instance, or Christian Eriksen, or somebody else is playing better at attacking mid than Bruno, then he would deservedly move way. I mean, that's the only way that you have a proper bit of squad harmony, that you have a proper bit of a relationship in the squad, bit of competition, is whenever you actually get players dropping in and out because they're coming in and out of form. It's just natural. I mean, it's why we're not seeing Jadon Sancho play. It's why Ronaldo has been in and out of the squad so far this year. And yeah, I mean, it's no surprise. That's just how football works. We know this. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I don't see people complaining about Jadon Sancho not playing. I don't see elements in the media. I don't see Graham Souness sitting on TalkSport on a Monday morning saying Jadon Sancho should be playing for United, but no, Harry Maguire has to play for Manchester United. So there's some sort of a strange bit of spin being put on that. But I'm not here to dig out into individual players. I just don't think he should go in the England World Cup squad. I don't think many people would be banging on the door saying form wise he deserves to be there. But yeah, I mean, there's a lack of quality options. Personally, I always think that Lewis Dunk could have made it at the England squad when we see some of the players who have been given minutes, the likes of James Tarkowski, Connor Cody, stuff of the world. If these guys are getting minutes, why can't the likes of Lewis Dunk? But I mean, it is what it is. Ben White will definitely go and start for me. John Stones if he's fit, and Kyle Walker. So that could probably be my back three if I was Gareth Southgate, because it will be the back five. We know this, but I think if he does go for that back five, probably Trent, Walker, Stones, Ben White, Luke Shaw is your best bet. Personally, I wouldn't go for Jordan Pickford in goal. I'd go for Nick Pope as well. I think he's just better all-round keeper, but Jordan Pickford has that nice distribution as well. But personally, I'd go for Nick Pope. Here's the thing, though. This is why I think Gareth Southgate is an issue in England, and it's genuinely because if you can set up with a back five and still be kind of positive. We see this with the Dutch. The Dutch play with that back five, but they play daily blended left wing back. He'll invert and sort of form an extra midfielder. We see Frankie de Jong, we see Steven Berghuis, and then at attacking mid we'll probably see Cody Gakpo and Memphis Depay ahead of him with someone else. I mean, not a complete expert on the Dutch World Cup squad, but I mean, that's how they're likely going to line up. Personally, for me, that's a lot more positive than the England setup. That could very well be Trent, Stones, Walker, White, Shaw, and then a midfield two of Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips with Jude Bellingham in there. I mean, that's just as negative as it gets in football. Certainly, that wouldn't surprise me if Gareth Southgate went with her. Like, I mean, we've seen it do it so many times before. Like, for me, put Jude Bellingham in there, put James Maddison in there. Like, if you're gonna have the five at the back and Declan Rice, you've got the coverage. Go for those fucking interesting players, man. Go for those interesting, exciting players who are gonna get on the ball and do something. Someone like a James Maddison, Phil Foden, Jude Bellingham in that team could do a lot more than what Calvin Phillips, Declan Rice are gonna do as a partnership in midfield. Like, but yeah, I mean, each to one's own. It'll be very interesting to see the World Cup. Like I said before, my prediction will definitely be France. I think France could win the World Cup this year, so long as there isn't like the internal fallout that we've seen mar so many French teams, the fighting with each other. Yeah, I mean, if that happens, you know, I think Argentina could be a real good shot. Unbeaten in like 35 matches as well, going into ridiculous. Now I know that the South American football in the qualifiers probably isn't as competitive as the major European qualifiers. Now, don't get me wrong, there's certainly elements of the likes of England, Germany qualifying by playing the likes of Luxembourg, San Marino, but certainly whenever you're actually getting to the tournament and you've got France, Germany, Spain, Netherlands, England, quality teams, it certainly is a higher level of football in my opinion. But each one's own. There's definitely South Americans who would disagree with me for saying that, but that's just my take. So yeah, I mean, personally, I think that could be the World Cup. I think it'll be an interesting match at the weekend. We'll be doing the preview, of course, tomorrow, so stick around for that, guys. Be a couple more shorts go up as well over the week, so if you do see them, give them a like. You know, they're only a short wee video. They're only like 30 seconds long, so everything's appreciated. Every like, comment, whatever. Probably just gonna end it here. We've been live for about 45 minutes. It's 10 past 12. I can hear everybody else in my house kind of going to bed, so I feel like I should probably join in. So yeah, I mean, I think we'll pretty much just wrap up there. So if you guys do want to join us tomorrow for the preview, of course that will be up probably around 7 o'clock PM. That's UK time. Not quite sure what it'll be for any American followers or anything, but yeah, I mean, that'll be the upload tomorrow. We'll be live after the match as well. That definitely went down well last time. After the match, you know, live stream, we all got talking about what went wrong in the Villa match. Very interesting, some very good takes as well. Certainly about the midfield from a couple of people in the chat, so like that's always appreciated. And yeah, guys, so I am probably gonna leave it there. That will do us. So if you do want to support us and you have got this far, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. The streams will come up more and more now that I've got the internet working, and hopefully now that we've got the graphics and the sound and everything working fairly reliably. Yeah, I mean, thank you very much for watching. Pretty much been 3 guys in here the whole night, so like, fair play is. We'll see you for that preview tomorrow. So yeah, guys, just gonna leave it here. Good night, all. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe again. Shameless plug. Like, I'm just such a shameless man, but has to be done. So yeah, guys, see you tomorrow. Big talk. The preview be very interesting. Expecting to see a lot of youngsters as well. Done a couple of scouting reports on some of the younger players as well. If you guys want to check those out in the meantime, certainly anybody who does play, I will do further analysis of the likes of Garnacho. Hopefully, maybe even see a rare appearance from Kobe Mainoo, maybe a Charlie McNeil cameo. Who knows? Like, the possibilities really are endless. So yeah, guys, just gonna leave it there. Can see a couple of people have dropped off. So thank you very much for watching. Thanks very much for staying and watching the stream, supporting the channel. Much appreciated as always. I'm gonna go, guys, because my throat is actually just gonna die. So yeah, guys, see you tomorrow. All the best. Good night and God bless. And we are done.